The Black Knight satellite is watching us. For more than half a century, something has been circling our planet, silent, shadowy, and unexplained. An object that wasn't launched by any nation, yet orbits Earth as if it has been here far longer than we have. Some say it's a piece of space debris. Others claim it's a secret military satellite. But there are those who believe it's something far older, something not of this world. They call it the Black Knight satellite. It's said to be over 13,000 years old. It's said to transmit mysterious signals. And if you believe the whispers, it's been watching humanity since the dawn of civilization. Tonight, we look closer, because the deeper you go into this mystery, the harder it becomes to tell what's myth and what's hidden truth. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world's strangest conspiracies. Because once you've heard the story, you'll never look at the night sky the same way again. Our story begins not in space, but in a laboratory in Colorado Springs in the year 1899. Nikola Tesla, the man who electrified the modern world, was conducting experiments with wireless energy, trying to send power and information through the air itself. One night, while testing a new receiver, Tesla heard something impossible. A series of regular pulses, radio signals coming from somewhere in the sky. He described them as repeating signals of intelligent origin. At first, he thought they were natural, atmospheric noise or reflections of his own transmission. But over time, the pattern became too precise to ignore. Tesla became convinced that he had intercepted a message from another world, perhaps from Mars or even farther beyond. His contemporaries dismissed him, but decades later, radio operators around the world began to encounter something eerily similar: long-delayed echoes. Radio signals that returned several seconds after transmission, as if something in space were catching and sending them back. No one could explain it, not the atmosphere, not the moon. Something else was out there, listening. By the mid-1950s, the world stood on the edge of the space age. The United States and the Soviet Union were racing to be the first to reach orbit. But then something appeared that shouldn't have been there. In 1954, American newspapers reported that the U.S. Air Force had detected 2 unknown satellites circling Earth, years before anyone had launched one. Astronomers tracked dark objects moving across the sky, and panic briefly spread through the intelligence community. The Pentagon denied everything. Officials claimed the reports were mistaken. But whispers persisted, a dark object circling the Earth in a polar orbit, something no nation had the technology to accomplish at the time. It was moving silently from pole to pole, defying explanation. For some, this was the first official sighting of what would later be called the Black Knight. In February 1960, the mystery deepened. The U.S. Navy detected a massive dark object in polar orbit. No known rocket could have placed it there. Not the Soviets, not the Americans. For days, radar stations followed its path, measuring its rotation and movement. Then suddenly, it was gone. The Department of Defense issued a quick explanation. It was merely debris from an American rocket, a fragment of the Discoverer 8 satellite program. Case closed, but not everyone was convinced. The object's orbit didn't match any known debris, and radar readings suggested it was far larger and heavier. Some operators even claimed it changed altitude, something no piece of junk could do. Within weeks, the data vanished into classified archives, and anyone who asked questions was told to stop. But among those who had seen the readings, one conclusion lingered. This was no ordinary satellite. Whatever was up there, it wasn't ours, and it wasn't theirs. In the early 1960s, Britain launched a new rocket project under the name Black Knight.
0 hour at Woomera, South Australia. Black Knight, Britain's first space rocket, had its cables released and was all set for the takeoff.
Officially, it had nothing to do with the unidentified object in orbit, but the coincidence of the name stuck. From that point on, the mysterious satellite had an identity. Every unexplained signal, every unidentified object, every radar echo from orbit, everything strange that scientists couldn't explain, was blamed on the same enigma, the Black Knight satellite. The legend began to take on a life of its own. Then, decades later, it returned. In 1998, during NASA's Endeavour mission to the International Space Station, astronauts captured a series of photographs showing a dark, angular object drifting in orbit. NASA said it was a thermal blanket accidentally released during assembly. But the images told another story. The object looked structured, too defined, too complex to be fabric. It seemed to have panels, edges, symmetry. Analysts online compared it to known debris and found no match. And when people began downloading the original NASA image files, strange things happened. File names changed, timestamps disappeared, entire photos vanished from the archive. The more NASA insisted it was nothing, the more people believed it was everything. For the first time, the Black Knight had a face. In the 1970s, scientists studying long-delayed radio echoes made another strange discovery. Among the noise, they found patterns, signals that seemed deliberate. Researcher Duncan Lunan proposed that the signals were a message from an ancient probe orbiting Earth, pointing toward the star system Epsilon Botis, a double star about 200 light-years away. His interpretation, though later retracted, ignited a firestorm. If true, it meant the Black Knight was not only watching, it was communicating. The message, according to Lunan's controversial decoding, read, "Start here. Our home is Epsilon Botis." Whether mistake or miracle, the legend grew. A silent probe circling Earth, patiently sending out a message that we might never fully understand. Some researchers took the story even further. They believed the Black Knight wasn't from the space age at all, but from the dawn of civilization itself. Perhaps it had been orbiting Earth for 13,000 years, long before recorded history. Myths from across the ancient world tell of sky gods and watchers descending from the heavens, the Anunnaki, the star beings, the ones who came from above. Could those stories have been inspired by something real, something visible in the night sky? If the Black Knight has been there all along, it would have seen everything. The rise of pyramids, the fall of empires, the first radio signals sent into the void. Some even claim that when Tesla began broadcasting electricity into the air, the Black Knight responded, sending those mysterious pulses back to him. If true, it has been waiting for us to notice it, waiting for us to reach a level of technology that would allow us to find what has been watching all along. Every great mystery eventually collides with denial. When the Black Knight photos appeared online, NASA was quick to explain them away, calling them nothing but lost equipment. But independent researchers noticed strange inconsistencies: missing image sets, altered data, and quietly edited web pages. Some claim that when people tried to access specific photo files, they were redirected or blocked. Others found declassified CIA documents referring to unidentified orbital objects during the early space race, with entire pages blacked out. To believers, this was proof of a cover-up. To governments, it was business as usual. Both the United States and the Soviet Union had every reason to keep something like this quiet. After all, if the object wasn't theirs, it raised questions they couldn't afford to answer. And so they buried it under paperwork, plausible deniability, and silence. The simplest way to hide something extraordinary is to convince the world it never existed. In the 21st century, the legend found new life. The internet became its home. YouTube, Reddit, and online forums filled with videos and theories. Amateur astronomers used open-source satellite tracking software to look for an object in polar orbit with a 104-minute cycle, nearly identical to early artificial satellites like Sputnik. Some claim to find it again, a faint, slow-moving shape crossing the poles, always on the edge of visibility. Every time someone posted footage, the same thing happened. Files deleted, accounts vanished, data lost. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. Others reconstructed missing NASA photos and found patterns claiming the object's orbit intersected restricted airspace and high-security zones, just as live feeds from those regions mysteriously went offline. To skeptics, it was a myth that had evolved with technology. To believers, it was proof that the Watcher still circled above us. And in a sky filled with thousands of satellites and fragments of debris, one thing was certain. If the Black Knight wanted to hide, there was no better place. But maybe the Black Knight isn't about what's up there. Maybe it's about what's inside us. Humanity has always looked to the stars for meaning, for answers, for company. The idea that something watches us makes us feel less alone. It gives the universe a face, a presence, a sense of purpose. But it also reflects our fears. The fear that truth is hidden, that power deceives, that there are forces above us that we'll never understand. The Black Night sits perfectly at the crossroads of hope and paranoia. It is science mixed with myth, curiosity blended with suspicion. In an age where cameras, satellites, and algorithms watch our every move, the story of a dark object watching from above feels strangely familiar. Perhaps that's why it endures. Because even if it isn't real, it feels real. It mirrors us, our questions, our imagination, our need to find meaning in the dark. Some say the Black Night is nothing more than space debris. Others believe it's the oldest artifact in orbit, a relic left behind by someone or something that came long before us. But maybe the truth isn't out there at all. Maybe it lies in the stories we tell and the mysteries we refuse to let die. Whatever it is, it's still up there, silent, patient, waiting, watching us as we look for it, watching us as we tell its story again and again. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. We explore mysteries like this every week, stories about conspiracies, hidden truths, and the unexplained. And here's the thing, most of you watching right now aren't subscribed, so if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next deep dive into the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sky, because somewhere above us, something might be looking back.